Have you ever found yourself overreacting to a seemingly small comment or situation, or struggled to understand why someone else is so sensitive? Emotional triggers are the hidden forces behind these intense reactions, affecting us all at different times. Understanding them can transform how you navigate your emotions and interactions with others. In today's video, we are going to uncover the mystery of emotional triggers. We will explore what they are, how they touch on our deepest beliefs and emotions, and why they can evoke such powerful responses. By the end of this video, you will learn how to identify your own triggers and manage them effectively, and also how to better understand and support those who are experiencing them. In our previous videos, we discussed the importance of emotional intelligence, the differences between emotions and feelings, and how our brain processes emotions, involving key players like the amygdala, hypothalamus, prefrontal cortex, and hippocampus. Today, we will build on that foundation by focusing on emotional triggers, those external elements that touch on our internal beliefs and emotions, often shaped by past experiences. As we embark on this journey to understand our emotional triggers, it's essential to start with a clear picture of what these triggers are and how they influence our lives. Emotional triggers are specific stimuli such as people, situation, words, or memories that provoke intense emotional responses. These triggers can touch on our deepest beliefs, past experiences, or unresolved issues, bringing buried feelings to the surface. They play a significant role in how we react to various situations in our lives. Triggers can be both negative and positive. While we often focus on negative triggers because they lead to challenging emotional responses, positive triggers also play a crucial role in our emotional experiences. Negative triggers are stimuli that provoke uncomfortable or distressing emotions, often linked to past traumas, fears, or unresolved issues. For example, hearing criticism might trigger feelings of inadequacy, or a conflict might trigger anger and frustration. Reminders of past trauma, such as certain sounds or smells, can also trigger feelings of fear or sadness. On the other hand, positive triggers evoke pleasant and uplifting emotions, often linked to happy memories, achievements, or sources of comfort and joy. Receiving a compliment can trigger feelings of pride and happiness. Reuniting with loved ones can trigger joy and a sense of belonging, and nostalgic reminders like a familiar scent or favorite song can trigger feelings of comfort and warmth. Understanding and identifying both negative and positive emotional triggers is crucial for several reasons. Number 1. Balanced emotional awareness. Recognizing both types of triggers help you develop a more balanced understanding of your emotional landscape. Number 2. Enhanced emotional regulation. Being aware of positive triggers allows you to seek out experiences that enhance your well-being, while managing negative triggers helps mitigate distress. Number 3. Improved relationships. Understanding that others have both positive and negative triggers fosters empathy and encourages supportive interactions. Number 4. Personal growth. Working through negative triggers and embracing positive ones contribute to personal development and a healthier emotional state. Number 5. Stress reduction. Being aware of your triggers allows you to anticipate and mitigate stressful situations, helping reduce overall stress and anxiety levels. Number 6. Empathy and support. Recognizing that others also have triggers allows you to respond more compassionately when they overact or become overly sensitive. This understanding can transform your approach to conflict resolution and support. By learning to identify and understand your emotional triggers, you gain powerful tools for managing your emotions and enhancing your overall well-being. This knowledge also helps you navigate your relationships with greater empathy and insight. To truly understand emotional triggers, we need to look at the science behind them. Our brain plays a central role in how we experience and respond to these triggers. At the heart of our emotional responses are two key players, the amygdala and the hippocampus. The amygdala is often referred to as the brain's alarm system. It is responsible for detecting potential threats and triggering emotional responses. When the amygdala perceives something as a threat, it sends out distress signals to the rest of the brain, initiating a cascade of reactions to prepare the body for action. This process happens incredibly quickly, often before we are even consciously aware of the trigger. The hippocampus, on the other hand, is involved in forming and retrieving memories. It works closely with the amygdala to connect current experiences with past memories. When a trigger occurs, the hippocampus helps contextualize it by linking it to similar past experiences. This connection can intensify the emotional response, especially if the past experience was significant or traumatic. For more in-depth exploration of how the brain processes emotions, check out part 3 of our series. The link is in the description below. When the amygdala identifies a trigger, it sets off a series of physiological responses to prepare the body to deal with the perceived threat. One of the first reactions is an increase in heart rate. This prepares the body to either fight or flee from the threat by pumping more blood to the muscles. The body starts to sweat to cool itself down, which can help with physical exertion if you need to run or fight. Your muscles tense up, readying themselves for action. This can sometimes be felt as a knot in your stomach or tightness in your shoulders. Breathing becomes quicker and shallower, which increases oxygen flow to your muscles and brain, preparing you to quick thinking and action. These physiological responses are part of the body's fight-or-flight mechanism designed to protect you from harm. However, they can also occur in response to non-threatening situations like a difficult conversation or stressful email, leading to feelings of anxiety or panic. The types of emotions commonly triggered can vary, but they often include anger, triggered by perceived injustice, frustration, or threat. Anger prepares you to confront the situation head-on, but it can also lead to aggressive or impulsive actions if not managed properly. Fear, triggered by perceived danger or threat. Fear is a protective emotion that signals you to avoid harm, but excessive fear can lead to anxiety and avoidance behaviors. Sadness, triggered by loss, disappointment, or perceived failure. Sadness is a natural response to these experiences and can lead to reflection and healing, but prolonged sadness can contribute to depression. Joy, triggered by positive experiences or achievements. Joy enhances well-being and encourages social bonding, but recognizing and seeking our positive triggers can be equally important in balancing our emotional landscape. Understanding the brain mechanisms and physiological and emotional responses involved in emotional triggers helps us recognize why we react the way we do. This knowledge is the first step toward managing our triggers more effectively. With the solid understanding of the science behind emotional triggers, let's explore some common triggers that many of us encounter in our daily lives. Personal relationships. Triggers related to family, friends, and romantic partners are often the most powerful, because these relationships are deeply personal and emotionally significant. For instance, a critical comment from a parent or sibling can trigger feelings of inadequacy or frustration, especially if it touches on unresolved childhood issues. Similarly, feeling excluded from a social event or receiving negative feedback from a close friend can evoke sadness or anger. Miscommunication or perceived neglect from a romantic partner can trigger feelings of insecurity or betrayal, often linked to past experiences and deep-seated fears about love and acceptance. Work and career. The workplace is a common source of emotional triggers due to the high stakes and constant pressure. Tight deadlines, high workloads, and job insecurities can all trigger anxiety and stress. Missing a deadline or feeling overwhelmed by impending ones might lead to panic or self-doubt. Additionally, conflicts with colleagues or supervisors can trigger anger or feeling of inadequacy, especially when the conflict feels personal or unjust. Past experiences. Triggers stemming from past traumas or significant events can be particularly challenging because they often bring up unresolved emotions. For example, a smell, sound, or sight that reminds someone of a traumatic event can trigger fear or sadness. Imagine hearing loud noises and feeling a surge of anxiety because it reminds you of a past experience with violence. Similarly, anniversaries or losses or other significant dates can evoke intense emotions, and the memory of a past failure might trigger fear and avoidance in similar future situations. Self-perception. Triggers related to self-esteem and self-worth are often linked to how we see ourselves and our value in the world. Negative comments about appearance, abilities, or worth can trigger feelings of inadequacy or shame. For someone with fragile self-esteem, even mild criticism can be a powerful trigger. Not achieving a goal or being passed over for a promotion can lead to feelings of worthlessness or self-doubt, often stemming from internalized beliefs about one's abilities and value. Understanding these common triggers help you anticipate and prepare for emotional reactions. It also allows you to develop strategies for managing these triggers effectively, leading to better emotional regulation and healthier relationships. Understanding common triggers is a great start, but the real power comes from identifying your own personal triggers. Let's explore some techniques to help you do just that. Self-reflection. One of the most effective ways to identify your emotional triggers is through self-reflection. This involves taking a step back and examining your reactions to different situations. Journaling can be incredibly helpful here. Try to write down your thoughts and feelings when you experience a strong emotional reaction. Ask yourself questions like, what exactly happened? How did it make me feel? And have I felt this way before? By consistently reflecting on your experiences, you can start to notice patterns and pinpoint specific triggers. Mindfulness practices. Mindfulness is another powerful tool for becoming aware of your triggers in the moment. This involves paying close attention to your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations without judgment. When you practice mindfulness, you create a space between the trigger and your reaction, allowing you to observe what's happening inside you. For instance, if you feel a sudden wave of anger, mindfulness can help you notice the tightness in your chest or the clenching of your fists. By acknowledging these signs, you can gain insight into what might be triggering your response and take steps to manage it. Tracking patterns. Keeping a log of your emotional reactions is also a useful strategy. Start by noting down each time you experience a strong emotional reaction. Include details such as the situation, the people involved, and your thoughts and feelings at the time. Over time, you will start to see recurring themes and patterns. For example, you might notice that you often feel anxious in crowded places or become defensive when receiving feedback at work. Recognizing these patterns can help you anticipate triggers and develop strategies to cope with them more effectively. Identifying your emotional triggers through self-reflection, mindfulness, and tracking pattern is crucial for gaining control over your emotional responses. By understanding what sets off your intense emotions, you can better prepare for and manage these reactions, leading to a more balanced and emotional healthy life. Now that you've learned how to identify your emotional triggers, it is important to understand the impact these triggers can have on various aspects of your life. Behavioral impact. Emotional triggers can significantly influence your behavior and decision-making. When a trigger sets off a strong emotional reaction, it can lead to impulsive actions that you might later regret. For example, if you are triggered by a critical comment at work, you might react defensively or lash out, even if the feedback was meant to be constructive. These knee-jerk reactions can cloud your judgment and lead to decisions that aren't in your best interest. Recognizing how triggers influence your behavior allows you to pause and choose a more considered response. Relationship impact. Triggers also affect your personal and professional relationships. In personal relationships, a trigger can lead to misunderstandings and conflicts. For instance, if you feel triggered by a partner's comment, you might respond with anger or withdrawal, causing tension and distance. In professional settings, triggers can lead to strained interactions with colleagues or supervisors. An unmanaged trigger can result in defensive or aggressive communication, which can damage your professional reputation and hinder collaboration. Understanding your triggers can help you communicate more effectively and maintain healthier relationships. Mental and physical health. Unmanaged emotional triggers can take a toll on your overall well-being. Constantly being triggered can lead to chronic stress, anxiety, and even depression. The physical effects of this stress include headaches, digestive issues, and sleep disturbances. Over time, the strain of dealing with frequent triggers can weaken your immune system and increase your risk of health problems. By identifying and managing your triggers, you can reduce these negative impacts and promote better mental and physical health. Understanding the impact of emotional triggers is crucial for leading a balanced and healthy life. By recognizing how triggers influence your behavior, relationships, and well-being, you can take proactive steps to manage your emotional responses and improve your overall quality of life. Having understood the impact of emotional triggers, let's now focus on practical strategies for managing them effectively. Awareness and acceptance. The first step in managing emotional triggers is to become aware of them and accept them without judgment. Recognizing your triggers allows you to understand why you react in certain ways. Acceptance means acknowledging your triggers and emotions as valid without criticizing yourself for having them. This non-judgmental awareness creates a foundation for change as it enables you to observe your reactions calmly and with compassion. Developing coping mechanisms. Once you are aware of your triggers, developing coping mechanisms can help you manage your emotional responses. Techniques such as deep breathing and grounding exercises are effective for calming the nervous system and reducing immediate stress. Deep breathing helps slow down your heart rate and brings a sense of calm, while grounding exercises like focusing on your senses or feeling the floor beneath your feet can help you stay present and reduce anxiety. Positive self-talk is another powerful tool. When you notice a trigger, remind yourself that it's okay to feel this way and that you have the strength to handle the situation. Reframing negative thoughts and focusing on positive affirmations can shift your mindset and reduce the intensity of your emotional responses. Seeking professional help. For deep-seated triggers that are difficult to manage on your own, seeking professional help is a wise step. Therapy or counseling can provide a safe space to explore your triggers and the underlying issues that cause them. A professional can offer strategies tailored to your specific needs and help you develop healthier ways to cope. Therapy can be especially beneficial if your trigger stems from past traumas or if they significantly impact your daily life and relationships. Understanding and managing your emotional triggers takes time and practice, but the benefits are profound. By recognizing and accepting your triggers, developing effective coping mechanisms, and seeking professional help when needed, you can gain greater control over your emotional responses and lead a more balanced, resilient life. We've covered a lot today, from understanding what emotional triggers are to learning how to manage them. Remember, this journey is about progress, not perfection. Keep practicing these strategies and you will see improvements over time. If you have any questions or experiences to share, please leave them in the comments below. Your feedback helps me create content that truly supports you. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe to Kai's Calm Kit for more insights and tools for emotional well-being. See you in the next video. Much love.